I was born in 1943.
I grew up in Worcester, and Worcester is a city.
Worcester was very much a manufacturing town, and as far as I was concerned and my family was concerned, it sort of lived in the shadow of Boston. And my parents, they were both very involved in local affairs in Worcester, and that certainly was the beginning of my interest in taking part in the same sorts of things. Yeah, I visited Brookline a lot when I was a kid because my mother's father lived here. He'd moved here in 1944 from Chelsea. And we used to come almost every Sunday. So I got very used to Brookline, to the subway. Brookline was sort of like coming to a second home. I went to Clark University in Worcester. My major was in economics. And I wrote a senior thesis on monetary policy.
Moved to Brookline. I was living in Cambridge when I met my future wife. And when we decided to move in together. I started off in Brookline as being appointed. I was appointed to initially to a study committee that looked at a community advisory committee that looked at the rebuilding of Beacon Street back in 1998 or so. And then I applied to join the transportation board because I had been very active with the Brookline Community Foundation, and I rotated off that board after a great many years on it.
I'm not sure I'm interested in politics as much as I am interested in government policy. I had two careers in business, and my activities in town government have always been on a volunteer basis. So they were going on at the time that I was working. But I worked in a manufacturing company in Worcester that my father had started, and then as a management consultant for a firm in Cambridge. For about 25 years. And all through that time, I was doing things related to Brookline town government.
Well, I was interested in becoming a select board member, but I was recruited when there was an opening when one of the members decided not to run.
I met Mike. I think he was the chair of the transportation board at the time. I helped him get elected on the select board.
So when you have a town in Massachusetts, it is very common that the town form of government looks like a 5-member select board and an elected body of town meeting. Now, there are all kinds of other variations, but that is true in Brookline. We have a 5-member select board, an elected town meeting that basically acts kind of like a legislature.
The things that I'm most pleased about are related to what was done with the ARPA funds, the funds that we received from the federal government after the COVID pandemic. One of those was a grant of almost $500,000 to the Trust Learning Center, which to expand the availability of low-cost, affordable childcare within Brookline. When you working with people who have different political views, you have to be respectful. You have to recognize that they have a basis for their views. Explore that basis with them and see if you can persuade them to perhaps shift a bit.
He's very thoughtful, and he never makes you feel small or stupid. He treats every question like, that's an interesting question, and then just has all of this really encyclopedia type knowledge about almost every subject.
I think it would be fair to say that over time I became more, I hate to use the word, but I will, progressive, because I don't consider myself to be a progressive. I consider myself to be a practical liberal in my views, but just the same progressive views have certainly influenced anybody who has been thoughtful about what it means to be a responsible citizen and recognize the problems in society.
So one of the things that happens in government in general is that things seem to move at a glacial pace. And you need to be patient and aware that there's a process that is going to be followed, whether you're patient or not. So you may as well go with the flow. Always push appropriately for moving forward. Even glaciers sometimes need a little shove.
I see him as a political friend and also as a personal friend. and our friendship has evolved over the years. I've gone to Red Sox games with him. We've had dinner together, lunch together, and he's just a person I enjoy talking to. But then he ran unopposed. Getting to a point where you're running unopposed just shows the respect that the community has for a person and for Mike, that no one wanted to challenge him. I consider Mike one of the wise people in Brookline. He has a broad range of experience. He's grounded. I could always count on him for sound advice.
This happens to be a very strange time in national affairs to ask a question about hope. But I think one of the things that we have in Massachusetts in general, in the Northeast in general, is an attitude that, well, if the federal government seems to be going off the rails, we're going to put ourselves very securely on the rails and not deviate, not be distracted by all of the noise around us.
If Brookline becomes a city, no, I don't expect to run for mayor. I think my political career has come to an end. At least my the elected side of things. I'm still doing some things on a volunteer basis for the town and would hope to continue that.
Brookline runs on volunteer horsepower. There are a lot of organizations in Brookline and Massachusetts in general that are worthy of being a volunteer for, including the Brookline Interactive Group. So I would hope that people will take a look around them and see what might interest them and get active in something that will indeed move things forward and keep us on the rails.